What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to ICNVDriversedition, and today we're getting into the interesting conversation because the C8 ZR1 has been revealed. Yes, we're talking about a 1,064 horsepower monster. Now, the day this actually came out, I had to catch a flight, but it didn't stop me from watching these videos. So I got all the key information for you in one place. So let's get into the new C8 ZR1. So, if this is your first time tuning into the channel, my name is Sho. This is ICNVDriversedition. We are an interactive car community, which means that if you reach out to me on any one of my social media platforms, I will do my best to respond. And if the topic you bring up is interesting enough, I will shoot a video on it. But now that we got the formalities out the way, let's talk about the C8 ZR1. But we can't get exactly into the C8 ZR1 without remembering how we got here. Remember, the base C8, 495 horsepower if you get the Z51 package. Well, technically not the Z51 package, as long as you got the performance exhaust. Then, what comes in between? Well, technically we got introduced to the C8 Z06 next, which was 670 horsepower, but the model in between that is technically the Corvette C8 E-Ray. And the E-Ray is a combination of that same Z51 engine, that same platform with an active hybrid assist to make 650 horsepower, and it has held down the title of the quickest Corvette ever until now. So like I said, after that, we have the C8 Z06, and today we have been introduced to the new C8 ZR1. Now, I know there's some rumbling in the background about a Zora, but until that comes out, which I already have some information on that, at least my speculation about what Zora is going to be, let's dive into that in another video. So, what is so amazing about this C8 ZR1? Well, let me just put it to you like this. If you think about it, this is a Corvette. Now, Chevy has been trying to drop the mic for quite some time, and they've always sat there and said they can do it better than anybody else has done. And they've come out and show it.
In this case, the C8, we're able to do that. And so pretty much all the bells and whistles that you would expect on a luxury GT, you can get this on one of the most powerful cars ever produced.
Oh, great. Well,
yeah, it's over the top. Yeah. It is over the top. Most Absolutely. Of us, it's kind of a mic drop car.
Yeah. So if you don't even understand how powerful the Corvette C8 ZR1 is, let me help you out a little bit. This car has more horsepower than a Bugatti, and that's come out of a V16 with a 986 horsepower. Wow. You also have the Lamborghini V12, which is pushing out 789 horsepower, and the ZR1 is doing better than that. And I know all my Dodge Mopar people thought they had something with the Dodge Demon 170, but here's the problem with that. Even though they'll give you 1,025 horsepower, which is still less than the C8 ZR1, you got to run on some technical like E85 gas. You getting this with regular performing gas. I'm not gonna say regular, but with premium gas that you can get out the pump. So you've got to hunt down on E85. And then, just so you can really understand this, this engine is still pushing out more horsepower than technically two Corvette C8 Z51s combined. That's how much power we're actually getting from this new C8 ZR1 technology, or should I say this twin turbo V8 packed inside the ZR1.
We've done a lot of things with the geometry. If you look at the engine, the turbochargers are essentially in the manifold, in the exhaust manifold. They're right there. And we use smart strategies to retain boost even when you're off throttle. Okay. So we keep the wastegates closed. We actually don't relieve the pressure. We keep that pressure there. So as you crowd back into the throttle, it's there.
Now, this car is nothing what we thought it was going to be. Well, maybe it's kind of what we thought it was going to be, because it's still using the same, well, not the same, a different modified version of the flat plane crank that you can find inside of the C8 Z06. And I say that because the V8 has kind of been slightly down-tuned to 634 horsepower, and then it's been twin turbo, which is getting you to that 1064 number. So even though it is a flat plane crank V8, just like the Z06, this is not just another souped up Z06. This new flat plane crank design is like we have two 4-cylinder engine design that has been combined into one to produce this amazing power. Now I know I'm getting a little technical on you, so I have to let Taj or somebody else explain it to you so you can get more understanding on it.
And the turbos spool up really, really quickly. And since you're dealing with such a high, you start at such a high level, even when you're kind of off boost, it's crazy horsepower. And so it doesn't feel at all like a historic big turbo motor where it's nothing and then everything. It comes on quite linearly. It's complicated, but in the whole drive cycles, you want to make sure you've got the right level of gearing. But it turns out that like first and second, you've got too much gearing, and so we do torque manage those.
So let's talk about this performance. We're talking about 1,064 horsepower with 828 foot-pound-feet of torque. That is ridiculous. And this thing gives you 828 foot-pounds of torque between the revving range of 3,000 RPM to 7,000 RPM. That's a lot of power and a lot of pull. It's going to slap you back in the seat. I don't know if we're ready to handle this. Are you ready to handle this?
It just feels relentless. It feels like you're on this aircraft catapult thing, and you're like, stop! It's amazing how it pulls you towards the next corner.
We have come a long way. I mean, just think about this. The C6 ZR1 was giving you 638 horsepower. The C7 ZR1 gave you 755 horsepower. Now, the C8 ZR1, if it had came out and been somewhere in the high 8s, low 9s, no one would have been, let's say, upset. But instead, they delivered 1,064 horsepower. How fast and how much horsepower is this? The best way I can explain to you is this car can go from 60 to 130 in 4.8 seconds. That is amazing. You can get literally from 0 to over 200 miles per hour in 25 seconds. That is a lot of power. Think about that. The Corvette roof goes up in 16 seconds. In 16 seconds, you will be over 170 miles per hour. This car is ridiculously fast. I'd like to take this moment to say thank you to all my military members and veterans, because we all know freedom isn't free, and because of you guys and the sacrifices that your families make, we get to enjoy this thing we call freedom, which we enjoy so much. So a big salute to all my military members, veterans, and family members who make the ultimate sacrifice. If you've enjoyed what you've seen so far, go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, join the ICNV Driver Edition community. This is an interactive community, which means if you hit me up in the comments below or on any one of my social media platforms, I will do my best to respond back. And if the topic is interesting enough, I will make a video on it. So reach out, let's chat. But let's get back to this video. So let's talk about the numbers. 0 to 60 right now has not been disclosed, pretty much because they still need to work on the launch control features to actually give you a 0 to 60 time. If you ask me, I think this thing is going to be somewhere right around 2.3, 2.4 seconds. And even if it's not, it doesn't matter, because 0 to 60 is not going to be the difference or the head turning factor of this car. The fact that you can get to above 200 miles per hour in 25 seconds says enough. Now, 60 to 130, like I said before, that's 4.8 seconds. You're talking about 60 to 190. That happens in 15 seconds. 30 miles per hour to 200 miles per hour. You can achieve that in less than 24 seconds. 0 to 170 miles per hour can be achieved in 10 seconds. Think about that. 100 to 173 miles per hour can be achieved in 8 seconds. 100 to 150 miles per hour can be achieved in 5 seconds. And 100 to over 205 miles per hour can be achieved in 20 seconds. And like I said before, 0 to over 200 miles per hour can be achieved in 25 seconds. The performance in this car is utterly stupid. It'll make you stutter.
On a rolling start, this thing moves. In fact, we did a calculation. If you ever wanted to touch the face of God, so if you ever wanted to touch the clouds, go 200 miles an hour, you haven't done that in your life, this car will go, like you're rolling down a highway, 80 to 200 to 80 in about 25 seconds. But when you really get on it, what you hear is the air rush noise. It sounds like a jet turbine. It's a nice overlay of sounds. And meanwhile, your eyes are wide open because you're pinned back.
I can't believe they're actually putting something with this much power on the street. Now, mind you, everybody shouldn't have their hands on this car. Everybody shouldn't be getting behind the wheels of this car. But when you see this car, I can tell you right now, it's scaring me a little bit. And I think that's a good thing, to have fear of something that powerful. At the same point in time, why did GM do this?
ZR1, the last 3 generations anyway, have represented the best of everything. You know, what's the best car we can do for as broad a range of people who can afford a car like this? And it's not cheap. I mean, you get a lot for what you pay, but it's not a cheap car. As the range topper, you know, it's the most expensive Corvette we'll be doing. And so, yeah, you want to give people exactly what they want. So we haven't always offered convertible versions of our most potent cars. In this case, the C8, we're able to do that. And so pretty much all the bells and whistles that you would expect on a luxury GT, you know, you can get this on one of the most powerful cars ever produced.
Overall, all I can sit there and say to you is the C8 ZR1 is coming in 2025. It will be released. Everybody won't get their hands on one, but GM said if you want one, they will build one for those who can pay to own it. So I don't think it's going to be restricted, at least right now. For the information they shared, it will not be restricted. And all I can say to you is happy hunting. If you get your hands on one, reach out to your boy. Let me come out and check out the car and shoot a video on it. Like I said, this is ICNV Driversedition. We are an interactive community. So if you reach out to me on any one of my social media platforms or hit me up in the comments below, I will do my best to respond. If the topic you bring up is interesting enough, I will shoot a video on it. Remember, we were all made in his image, and some will say we were designed from greatness. But either way, it means you were not meant to just be. So chase your dreams, build your visions, embrace your identity. It is okay to be unique. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed. And I will see you in these streets. And hopefully behind the wheels of a C8 ZR1. Peace.